What's up, guys? This is a initial fitment of my new Cosmis XT005R 18x10 with a +20 offset. I'm doing this video to show clearance issues and how to fit a 305/35 18 tire on a wheel of this spec. So one of the clearance issues that you will probably run into, and I'll go through those one by one. Number one is probably going to be your tailpipe. If you run tailpipes, that is. I know some guys don't run tailpipes, and that eliminates that clearance issue. So this is just going to be a rough, if I can get this up here. So you're looking at roughly, I'm gonna say closer to 3 inches, maybe 2 3/4 inch clearance here, which looks to be plenty of room. I know my current setup on the XT005R, looks to be about 1 inch of clearance, but again, the new wheel moves 10 mils in and then has an additional 1/2 inch for the wheel, and then additional overall width of the new 305 tire instead of the 285 tire. Okay, so the next clearance that you'll have to look at is your shock. See how much shock clearance you have, and there's a lot of shock clearance from the back edge face of the wheel to the upper shock. So we'll go ahead and take a measurement of that, see what that looks like, just to give you some kind of good idea on how to do your measuring here. So you're looking at roughly a little over 1.5 inches, a little over 1.5 inches here. That's plenty of room to run a 305 because the bulge on a 305 tire is definitely not that wide. So I would say that clearance issues is not going to be a problem with your shock. Another clearance issue you may run into is the inner fender liner here. This whole section, which I believe, I'm pretty certain because I've done a lot of research, that there will be no rubbing with this setup that I have or will be putting on. Here's the current dimension here, and you're looking at about roughly 1 3/8 inches distance right there from the back edge of the face to the inner fender, and that's plenty of clearance. Another item to note is possibly down here, but this fender is definitely should be on the same plane. I mean, it definitely bows in here, curves in to the front part of the fender, but from what I've read and done research, that this tire and wheel setup is going to be just fine. Another issue, clearance issue you can run into is the quad shock. I removed the quad shock here. I know some people like to flip the quad shock, but I decided to go ahead and remove the quad shock, even with my 285 tire and the other wheels, just so it's just peace of mind. Obviously, the quad shock is designed for a certain purpose, but I didn't feel the need to have quad shock. The other clearance issue that you will have to check out is the fender rubbing. So I'm gonna show you guys here a little measurement technique that you can use if you'd like. You take a tape measure and you just run it up to the face, and it'll give you pretty close to square, I guess you could say. You could get a straight edge, a different type of straight edge for this. I don't have one short enough. I just have longer straight edges that won't fit in here. So we're gonna go ahead and set this up. If I can get this going here, sorry about that. So you basically run your tape measure flat with the top, flat with the bottom, and that should get you close. and then you get a good idea on what type of clearance you have, and there is a lot of clearance in there. I'm not sure what it is because I'm only using two hands. I would need a third person to measure that right there. But I will say that the curve of the tape measure here, when I measure with calipers, is 100 thousandths. So you could just take that 100 thousandths and then add it to the clearance on the tape measure from the inner side of your fender. Will give you a good measurement. So that's really it, guys, on clearance issues or problems that you need to look for if you decide to go ahead and switch wheels to a different offset, a different width. You can also use a wheel tire offset calculator, which is really great because it gives you a rough idea on how much your wheel is going to move in or out, depending on your application here. So with this setup, my wheel and tire total width was going to move about 1 inch 30 thou, and from doing measurements, it looks like I'm going to have plenty of clearance to put a 305 tire on here. I will say another thing you need to look out for or be advised is what your suspension setup is. So for me, I've got the H&R Super Sport springs. They lower 1 3/4 to 2 inches. I currently have a KYB XLG, cheap OEMs, but I did end up buying Bilstein B6 shocks for this setup. So this is definitely going to improve a lot of dampening so that it will hopefully eliminate any type of rubbing over harsh bumps from the inner fender. But like I said, I've talked to a lot of people, I've done a lot of research, and a lot of people have run 305, 18 by 10 with a plus 20, even a plus 25. A plus 25 is going to tuck the tire and wheel in another 5 millimeter so that you can clear your fender 5 more millimeter. So that's another thing to look for if you're wanting to switch out wheels. The offset is big. It's good. The offset and back spacing is basically going to determine how far in your wheel goes or how far out your wheel is from the center of the wheel or the front or rear face of the wheel. You guys can do your research on offsets and back spacing on see how that works. But anyways, guys, this is my first initial fitment of these wheels to see how well they fit, how well they don't fit, and this also is going to give you guys good information on how to check for all your clearances for this wheel specifically and other wheels in general if you decide to go ahead and swap wheels in your car builds. So, but I will also have, like I said in my previous video, I will definitely have a full review of the front and rear wheel fitment, tire fitment, etc. once I get the new rear tires, which are going to be the 305, 35, 18, and then I forget what my stock wheels are, or not stock, my front tires are, sorry. And I will be doing a full review on that. I do know my front wheels are going to they're being delivered today also. I don't know why they delivered 2 separate packages, but my front wheels are 18 by 9 plus 35. I will probably have another video for fitment for that front wheel because that's going to be a little bit different offset for the front. So if you guys would want to know more about the front wheel also for turning and any type of fitment issues possibly with the front wheel, stay tuned. So